We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
An 84-year-old woman vanished from her own bed at 2 a.m. No forced entry, no screaming, no struggle. Just gone. And the most terrifying part? The person who may have taken her sat at her dinner table just 4 hours before. Nancy Ellen Long was born on January 27, 1942, in Fort Wright, Kentucky. She grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio, a Midwestern girl with a sharp mind and a natural instinct for paying attention to the world around her. She enrolled at the University of Kentucky and worked on the Kentucky Kernel, the university student newspaper, where she served as society editor. She was someone who noticed things, someone who asked questions, someone who remembered the answers. She married Charles Guthrie, and together they followed his work across the world. It was during one of those international postings in Melbourne, Australia, that their daughter Savannah came into the world. When Savannah was just 2 years old, the family planted roots in Tucson, Arizona. In 1975, Nancy and Charles bought a home in the Catalina foothills for $85,000. That house today is worth over $1 million. Then on June 10, 1988, the life Nancy had built was cut in half. Charles Guthrie died suddenly of a heart attack while on a mining exploration trip in Mexico. He was 49. Nancy was 46. Savannah was 16, weeks away from starting her senior year of high school. There was no warning, no preparation, just a phone call and then silence. And then 3 children who needed their mother to hold everything together. She did. From 1990 to 2007, Nancy worked at the University of Arizona, eventually becoming associate to the vice president of university advancement. She built the Center Stage program from the ground up and created MedCamp, a program that brought Arizona high school students directly into the medical field. By 84, Nancy was living alone in that same Catalina foothills home. Her mind was clear. Her routines were steady. Her faith was the fixed point of her week. Almost every Sunday without exception, she joined a virtual church service with friends who counted on seeing her face on that screen. In 2022, Savannah honored her mother on the Today Show, saying Nancy had met unthinkable challenges with grit, without self-pity, with determination, and always with unshakable faith. 3 years later, in October 2025, Savannah visited her mother's home while filming a Today Show segment about Tucson. It was the last time that house was seen on national television as a place of peace. 3 months after that visit, it became a crime scene. Saturday, January 31st, 2026. To everyone around her, it is just another weekend. At 5:32 in the afternoon, Nancy takes an Uber to her daughter Annie's home. Annie and Annie's husband, Tommaso Cioni, are already there. They sit down to dinner together. They play family games. By every account, nothing feels wrong. Nancy is present, sharp, and in good spirits. At 9:48 p.m., Tommaso drives her home. He sits in the driveway 2 full minutes, watching until she steps inside and the door closes behind her. Then he pulls away. That door closing is the last time anyone who knows Nancy Guthrie sees her. At 1:47 in the morning, Nancy's Google Nest doorbell camera goes offline. Not a power failure, not a technical error. It disconnects. 25 minutes later, at 2:12 a.m., the home's internal camera registers movement at the front of the property, but there is nothing to see. No footage, no image. The camera had already gone dark. 16 minutes after that, at 2:28 a.m., the application connected to Nancy's pacemaker loses its connection to her iPhone. 41 minutes. From the moment that camera goes offline to the moment that pacemaker loses its link, and not 1 second of it is recorded. The next morning, a friend from Nancy's church sits down for their regular Sunday live stream service. She waits. She watches the screen. Nancy never joins. At around 11 a.m., the friend contacts the Guthrie family. At 11:56 a.m., family members arrive at Nancy's house. They go through every room. Nancy is not there. But everything else is. Her phone, her car, her wallet, her watch, her daily medication, sitting right where she left it, untouched. She did not pack a bag. She did not leave a note. She did not tell anyone she was going anywhere. At 12:03 p.m., the family calls 911. When deputies arrive, Sheriff Chris Nanos tells reporters the conditions inside were very concerning and completely inconsistent with someone leaving on their own. Forensic analysis confirms biological evidence at the entrance belongs to Nancy. By that evening, this is no longer a missing person case. It is a crime scene. Homicide investigators are brought in, and through TMZ founder Harvey Levin, a detail grips the public. A ransom note containing 4 words that investigators take seriously immediately. Nancy is okay, but scared. 10 days after Nancy vanished, FBI Director Kash Patel posted 4 black and white images on X. No press conference. Just 4 photographs and a caption identifying the person in them as the suspect in the kidnapping of Nancy Guthrie. Within hours, those images were everywhere. But what most people missed is that those 4 images were not all from the same night. Investigators, working alongside Google, had recovered residual data from back-end systems. Fragments of footage uploaded to the cloud in the seconds before the camera was physically removed. What that data revealed changed everything. This person had been to Nancy Guthrie's front door before. CNN and ABC News confirmed it independently. 2 of the 4 images were from a separate visit. In the detail that gives it away is the backpack. In one image, the suspect wears a black 25-liter Ozark trail hiker pack sold exclusively at Walmart. In another, a different visit. There is no backpack. Same mask, same build, same door, different day. That single detail dismantled every theory that this was random or impulsive. CNN analyst John Miller said the multiple visits fit the investigative assumption that whoever took Nancy had conducted pre-operational surveillance. When they studied the property, they tested the approach, they returned, and on their final visit, they came fully prepared. The suspect is male, approximately 5 feet 9 to 5 feet 10 inches tall, average build, a description produced by the FBI's Operational Technology Division by analyzing pixel data, shadow angles, and architectural reference points. The ski mask and backpack are both believed to have been purchased at Walmart. The gloves are black synthetic rubber. Firearms expert John Correa noted the suspect wore a belly band holster over a thick outer jacket, something no one with even a single day of firearms training would do. At the camera, the suspect holds a flashlight in his mouth, taps the lens twice, then reaches into a potted plant and uncovers the camera with foliage. He moves without hesitation. He does not scan his surroundings. He walks directly to the camera as if the plan was already fully formed. And reaching for a specific plant in the dark without looking for it means he already knew it was there. Someone standing on that porch for the first time would not know that plant existed. Through the eye openings of the ski mask, a trimmed black mustache is also visible. A specific detail included in the FBI's formal forensic description. The tip lines were immediately overwhelmed. Nearly 5,000 calls came in within hours. Within days, that number crossed 13,000. The FBI also quietly activated their Cellular Analysis Survey Team, known as CAST, a unit that maps which devices were active in a geographic area during a specific time window. Every homeowner within a 2-mile radius of Nancy's address was asked to submit surveillance footage from January 1st through February 2nd, 2026. That starting date, a full month before Nancy disappeared, tells you exactly what investigators already believed. This was a crime that was planned, studied, rehearsed, and whoever planned it believed they were invisible. At 2:28 a.m. on February 1st, a small electronic device inside Nancy Guthrie's chest sent out a signal. The pacemaker, keeping her heart in rhythm, kept going. It kept transmitting, because that is what it was built to do. Modern pacemakers are not passive. Every few seconds, they broadcast a Bluetooth signal to a paired smartphone, logging heart rate and rhythm data, syncing it to the patient's cardiologist. Nancy's doctor was receiving updates from inside her chest on a schedule. At 2:28 a.m., that connection dropped. Not because the pacemaker stopped, but because the phone it was paired to was now too far away to hold the signal. The phone had not moved. Nancy had. Every modern pacemaker carries a MAC address, a unique, hardwired identifier that keeps broadcasting regardless of whether its paired phone is nearby. That created an investigative opportunity that very few missing person cases in American history have ever had. The FBI deployed signal sniffer technology, a directional antenna system mounted aboard helicopters, sweeping 50 square miles of desert terrain around Tucson, filtering for that one specific MAC address. They were not looking for a vehicle. They were listening for a heartbeat. Sheriff Chris Nanos told reporters directly that he believed Nancy Guthrie was still alive. Behind that statement was a data feed. A pacemaker, somewhere in southern Arizona or possibly beyond it, was still sending information to her cardiologist's office. Alive, still transmitting, still reaching for a phone that could not hear it. 8 minutes after the pacemaker disconnected, at 2:36 a.m., a Ring doorbell camera belonging to Elias and Danielle Strategouleas, located approximately 2.5 miles from Nancy's address, recorded vehicle activity on a back road that generates almost zero traffic at that hour. 2.5 miles. 8 minutes after the pacemaker signal dropped. When investigators walked away from Nancy's home, here is what they had. A single glove found 2 miles away, matching the footage visually, containing DNA from an unknown male. And that profile was submitted to CODIS, the FBI's National Criminal DNA database, holding over 19 million offender profiles. The result came back with no match. Not one profile in 19 million came close. 16 gloves total were recovered in the search area. Only one matched the footage. Only one carried that unknown profile. Separately, DNA recovered from inside Nancy's property was mixed, containing genetic material from at least 2 individuals. That sample was sent to a forensic lab in Florida. As of this documentary's production, no conclusion had been returned on whether it is even viable for comparison. When the primary DNA route stalls, investigators turned to genetic genealogy, the same methodology that identified Brian Kohberger in the Idaho student murders and cracked the Gilgo Beach case. It works by running an unknown DNA profile against consumer databases like Ancestry.com and 23andMe. As if the suspect never submitted their own DNA, a parent, sibling, or first cousin may have. That familial overlap creates a thread investigators can follow. C.C. Moore, the country's leading expert in forensic genetic genealogy, addressed the case directly. She said that if she were the person responsible for taking Nancy Guthrie, she would be extremely concerned. Using investigative genetic genealogy, that person will be identified. It is just a matter of time. Investigators also pursued the equipment. The Walmart backpack, the mask, the gloves, every piece of gear left a potential paper trail. The FBI worked directly with Walmart to trace point of sale and online purchase records. Agents visited at least one Tucson area firearms dealer, showing photographs and asking about purchases made in the past year. Then came February 13th. The FBI executed a federal search warrant at a home approximately 2 miles from Nancy's residence. Sheriff's units, federal evidence vehicles, a SWAT vehicle, and forensics trucks moved in. A gray Range Rover was towed from a nearby parking lot. A man was detained at a traffic stop outside a Culver's restaurant. The following day, Sheriff Nanos confirmed he was their person of interest. He was cooperative. No charges were filed. He was released. 4 people total were detained during the search warrant operation. All four were released. The behavioral evidence in this case may be the most telling layer of all. Body language expert Susan Constantine studied the doorbell footage and found not panic, not hesitation, but ownership behavior. This suspect moves through that space the way a person moves through somewhere they belong. Former FBI profiler Jim Clemente said that kind of ease in a target location, in complete darkness, at 2 in the morning, Bistos points to either significant prior familiarity with the property or a psychological sense of entitlement so complete that ordinary fear simply does not register. Forensic expert Cheryl McCollum concluded the behavior was not consistent with a home invasion. Home invasions are loud, fast, and reactive. They are driven by opportunity. What happened at Nancy Guthrie's home was targeted, deliberate, and it did not begin on the night of January 31st. And digital forensics expert Heather Barnhart added that investigators would likely examine whether the suspect's phone had passively searched for Nancy's home Wi-Fi on prior visits, even without connecting. That scan is time-stamped. It can place a specific device at a specific address at a specific time. Her conclusion: the loudest evidence can be the lack of evidence. A phone going completely dark at a precise location is not neutral, but it is a data point that tells investigators exactly what the person holding it was trying to hide. The ransom notes added another layer of strangeness. Notes were sent not to the family, but to newsrooms. TMZ, KOLD, KGUN. Harvey Levin confirmed the note to TMZ contained a detail not yet released publicly: the exact placement of Nancy's Apple Watch. That separated it from false tips. The initial demand was $4 million in Bitcoin. Within days, it rose to $6 million, and with a deadline of 5 p.m. on February 9th. Savannah Guthrie, sitting with her family on camera, looked directly into the lens and said, "We received your message, and we understand. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay." The FBI sent a small test transaction, under $300, to the Bitcoin wallet listed in the note. A technique called tickling the wire, designed to trigger a signal if anyone checked the balance. February 9th came and went. The wallet sat completely untouched. No transaction, like no login, no movement. For 28 days, silence. A real kidnapper motivated by money would not ignore a test transaction sitting in their wallet. Investigators confirmed they had no clear read on the motive. Either the person behind the notes knew the wallet was being tracked, or the person who sent the notes was not the person who took Nancy, or the money was never the real goal. The public pressure that followed nearly destroyed people who had nothing to do with it. Rashleigh Banfield went on air just 3 days after Nancy was reported missing and pointed to Tommaso Cioni as the prime suspect. The report spread across every platform within hours. Sheriff Nanos addressed it immediately. No suspect had been identified. And looking at someone is not the same as suspecting them. By February 16th, he issued a formal written statement. The Guthrie family, to include all siblings and spouses, has been cleared as possible suspects. The family has been nothing but cooperative and gracious, and are victims in this case. To suggest otherwise is not only wrong, it is cruel. Retired FBI agent Jennifer Coffindaffer explained the clearance required unequivocal alibi evidence, full digital review, DNA comparison, a polygraph, demonstrated cooperation, and zero evidence of involvement. The Guthrie family met every one of those standards. Dominic Evans, a 48-year-old elementary school teacher and drummer in the same band as Tommaso, that paid the heaviest price of anyone. He had met Nancy Guthrie exactly once, at an Easter egg hunt at her home in 2011. Online users matched his build and face to the doorbell footage and published his home address. His house was surrounded. His children were frightened. He gave an interview to the New York Times and said he felt like someone had taken his name. Innocent people were getting hurt. His family was living through something they had done nothing to deserve. He was interviewed by the FBI and the Sheriff's Department. provided alibi evidence, and was cleared in the quieter, more painful way that innocent people are cleared when no one bothers to issue a press release on their behalf. The community that had known Nancy for decades responded in the way she deserved. St. Philip's in the Hills Episcopal Church opened its doors for a candlelight service. The Catalina Foothills Neighborhood Association asked residents to place yellow roses outside their homes, a symbol of hope and of someone expected to return. Within days, Nancy's street was lined with them. President Trump posted on Truth Social that he was deploying all available federal resources and that whoever was responsible would face the most severe federal consequences possible. The reward fund grew to over $1.2 million. Between 40,000 and 50,000 tips were submitted, and the FBI reviewed over 10,000 hours of video footage. And still, as the fourth week closed, no arrest, no named suspect. The FBI moved its command post from Tucson to Phoenix. The visible presence scaled back, but as Jason Pack made clear, do not let the visible reduction fool you. The focus has never been sharper. DNA sits in a Florida lab. Genetic genealogy is running against millions of consumer profiles. Walmart transaction records are being examined. A person of interest walked away, but was not forgotten. As Savannah said, hope against hope. We are blowing on the embers of hope. This case stands as a stark reminder that justice is not always guaranteed. We follow the evidence, no matter where it leads, trusting that one day the truth will rise to the surface. Nancy Guthrie is still missing. If you have any information, contact the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI. The reward is $1.2 million. Tips are anonymous, and the reward is payable in cash.